Hi.
Hello.
So I'm Chi Chi and this is Chantal.
Hello.
And we're here to discuss All the Lights We Cannot See
That's great.
by Anthony Doerr.
That's right.
This is hands down my favorite book of a very long time. I don't even know what book matches up to this one for me. And I had been talking about several episodes that I was looking for the book that would give me that, I guess for lack of any word, right? Language just is inadequate here, but like that like spiritual experience, that that like sense of satisfaction. But like satisfaction is not even a good
To hit every bone of your body.
It really did.
Every cell, everything.
It was like, I don't want to be cheesy. I don't want to say meeting God, but it was really like a spiritual, religious, existential experience for me.
I'm glad you liked it.
But I'm not going to summarize it. I'm just going to give that to you.
Oh, I was going to say you should do the summary.
No.
Okay. So this book is about two opposite characters in different countries, different characters in terms of even their opposites of their country, their sides of the war, who have totally different lives that come together to... This one's a hard...
I know. Okay. This is a story about, going with the broad themes, how war disrupts, how lives intersect, even from, seemingly very distant parts of the world. So it's not just about two characters coming together, but it's about showing how intergenerationally lives can cross, paths can cross, and ultimately the war being this massive, I guess, disruptor. Okay, so like story wise, it's about a guy. We are introduced to a guy, Werner, who is unfortunate because he's, born in the wrong part of the world, but not just the world, but literally the town. So him and his sister are orphaned, and he's got big dreams and ambitions. He's smart, brilliant. His gifts, his ability to create things, his ability to intellectualize and to fix things, particularly tech, takes him far. At the end, it ultimately leads to his demise.
Summary.
Right? I know, because it's really hard to give like a condensed. It's a very, really complex. Like I remember saying to you, this book is smarter than me. This book is so smart. It's complex, and the way it does what it does, which is to intersect stories, really just show human connection in a very deep way. It's very smart.
If you also think about like the underlying, I don't know if it's the underlying part of the book, it's all about this diamond.
Oh my goodness. Oh, how? Okay.
It's all
okay.
about
Okay.
that,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay. How really? I completely forgot the diamond. I completely forgot. Like literally,
this story is about this epic diamond, right? The one character, Mary Laure, her father is the keepsaker, I guess, the caretaker of this diamond.
So, okay, so the diamond is one subplot, but it's a very important subplot, right? Because essentially everything revolves around the acquisition of the diamond, the circulation of the diamond, and the ideological meaning behind it. Okay, let me try to summarize the story of the diamond. The diamond represents ideology, right? Because it's got this narrative around it that the keeper of the diamond will live forever, whereas everything horrible will happen around that person. So it's like it's very symbolic. You definitely like warped in all this myth. It's got this deep mythos around its acquisition, about its origin. Anyway, so it's in France's hands, and now Germany is trying to acquire because Germany knows about it. This is just to say that there are so many like working plot lines in this story, and there's just so many themes that it's hard to really summarize it. But I think if I was to, boil it down to maybe three major themes, I would say it's about ideology.
Okay.
It's about the beauty of human connection and hope. It's about just the grieve harm that we can cause towards each other over very material things. It's about our greed, right? It's about our lust for power.
That's great.
Should I? You know what? I'm gonna stop talking. Yeah, I'm just gonna drink our wine. Chantal was awesome today to get us bodacious. Is it bodacious red?
Yeah, it's bourbon barrel aged. Actually, and I do have to credit my mom on this one because she got this one for me and I brought it on over. So it's actually really funny though, because I texted you, like we were talking about which wines to get, and then you mentioned
voice memoed, right? Yeah,
I don't know.
Sent a voice note.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you should get this one."
And then she
no, she wasn't home.
How did
I have no idea. She
ideology.
I don't know.
Mommy is spiritually connected to you.
And she listens to the podcast, so thanks. Anyways, so why don't we talk about the book, and then maybe a summary will come to us, maybe not. I like your ideology. It's just, you're right. It is it's not straightforward. It's not this like linear.
No, it's
not a linear plot that most books are.
No.
Which is why, while this is not my favorite book of all time, or is not, might not even be on my top 5, I'm still in this like la land of this like middle ground of I don't know what to think about this book. However, that being said, the complexities of the storyline, the interconnectivity of everything, just perfect. Like, I really loved the writing. I loved, like, when you look at the big picture of it, I really did like the book a lot.
Right. I guess we could start with the structure. What we liked about the structure. That's usually how we do these things. And just, the aesthetics of the book. You really like the writing. I'm more into plain style writing. This Doerr really employs like very poetic prose that you could just you could almost, I don't know, dip your face in
I love it.
Like, I can't come up with an adequate descriptor, but it's really, really good. His writing is beautiful. It's very poetic, and like you said, the story is not linear, moves through time. So it's based on flashbacks, goes back and forth through time constantly.
Yeah, and I didn't even mean it like that, which is a good perspective. I meant that it was not linear in that the stories are interwoven.
Right.
Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. Every little detail is just connected in some way to the minor characters, to the two major characters, how, it is such a slow burn on how these two characters come together and meet. And over something as simple as a radio. Spoiler alert, we do talk about... No, I'm just saying we talk about the book in detail. So if you haven't read it, we will be talking about it. That's another thing we didn't mention, the radio, the diamond and the radio, these physical objects that are so crucial to this entire story, right? Like the whole thing with like Warner is fixated on radios. He's a genius. He can fix a radio. He can, build it. He can that's why they recruited him was because of his skills and the fact that this radio that Mary Laure has ends up bringing them together. Like the radio brings them together.
Not only does the radio bring them together, it connects them in a different period entirely because Marie Laure's her grandfather and her granduncle, they were creating recording that her now caretaker, her granduncle, would replay over and over and over. So the voice recording was created by her grandfather, and her granduncle would replay it to remember his brother, her grandfather. The recording, he would replay it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And as he was replaying over and over and over, Werner would be listening to that with his sister, and he was absolutely just
entranced by it.
That's a really good word, entranced by it. Yeah. And then, years later.
And ultimately, that's what brings them together, is this radio signal, because Marie Laure is playing this same recording. She's playing it because she's being held captive in her own house, and she's playing this so that someone hopefully will hear her, like, send help. She's actually saying, like, send help, playing this recording, and Werner recognizes this music, and like his job is to find radio signals, to find the enemy. His job is to find the enemy and capture them using these radio signals.
Yeah.
But he decides not to notify his superiors of this radio signal because it brings him fond memories of him and Yuda. And yeah, it's just, I thought I think with this book, again, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But that little, like, the little intricacies and the delicate, like, way that he's pieced, that's what I mean by it's interwoven.
Oh, no.
Right? Like, that little detail of, like, the recording being played, it's like, wow. You just, like, place these little, I'm just imagining this, like, spider web that Doerr must have built and put together when he was outlining this story. It wasn't like a linear, like, here's my outline, here's my spider web, right? Outline of everything. And I just think it's beautiful.
No, it's and you're right. Like, that's exactly what it is that I love about this book. It's just the way that the stories connect, and like it, just the care and attention to detail.
Yeah. I'll give him that for sure.
It's just really, honestly, but I feel like I can't offer just a very smart and helpful, like, review, because I can just only fangirl right now about how magnificent.
Well, why don't we take a transition into something that I didn't like.
Okay.
And then you can rebut it because you're fan-telling.
Yeah. Okay.
And just rebut the heck out of it. So there's two scenes in the book. One where a mom and her daughter get shot in the presence of Werner and his comrades. That was the first time in the book that I jumped. And if you've listened to this podcast before, specifically the Nightingale one, and we'll talk about it in another podcast, like, I'm not like squeamish to violence. Violence doesn't bother me when I'm reading. It's okay, however, when you go almost an entire book writing this beautifully unique and posh intellectual masterpiece, and you go ahead and you throw in this gun scene that has absolutely, like, in my opinion, I don't think it was necessary. I think there could have been other ways that Werner could have had a character transition, or not a character. Yeah, I guess a transitional moment. That's one scene. The second scene, again, towards the end, there is a scene where women post-war, Werner's sister is a victim of SA, and among other women, and I thought that was extremely distasteful. It had no, in my opinion, and again, I'm not saying that those scenes don't belong in books, because they need to be in the right places. They need to be. I just thought it was very uncharacteristic for the whole book, and it really brought my potentially like 5-star, 6-star review of this beautiful masterpiece down to like, ugh.
I actually disagree.
I know you do.
I think that, well, first of all, the gunshot scene is not the first that we get. What might seem like gratuitous violence, but I don't think it's gratuitous at all. I think it was very, well, A, subtle, and B, relevant. So Frederick's attack comes before.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And in that, so these are all violent.
It was so mild
that transform Werner's character, right?
Fair.
So there, and Frederick's was not mild. It was. We didn't. Again, nothing here is nothing in this book is graphic, which is why I like it. In contrast to you, actually don't like when authors use violence to advance a plot line.
Oh, I know you don't.
Or like to engage a reader. Oh, and it's just gratuitous. I hate it.
I know.
But this one, I understood what Doerr was doing, or I think I did at the very least. What was communicated to me as a reader is that these events have transformed Werner's character. That shooting was extremely transformative. For Werner, not only does he lead to him developing PTSD, right? He starts seeing the little girl who is shot, but it leads to him doing something completely radical at the end, right? So he does what he hadn't done the entire time. He had been obeying orders. Oh, this reminds me of what it is I loved about this book. So he had been obeying orders this whole time.
Yeah.
Going in line. Yes, he's a youth. I don't think we clarified that actually from the start.
We did.
He's a kid. He's like 15 years old.
Yeah. I think when they first recruited him, he was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And then towards like the progressive, I think it was,
See, 15.
Yeah. And then they lied about his age.
They lied about his age so he'd serve in the war. Yes.
Because he was actually 16 and they said he was 18.
Right. So this is a 15, 16-year-old. He's, just doing as he's supposed to do. I think he takes delight and pleasure in his work. He get not delight and pleasure, but he gets lost in his work. And while he sees the effects of his job, he still goes along to do it. There's a sort of disconnection there between, like for him, between what he's doing and what he's complicit in. And at points, you kind of get the idea or the feeling that he's sort of rationalizing it, right? So he kind of adopts this gaze that's really, just kind of messed up, right? Like he starts seeing enemy out of the people.
I think for him too, because he was an orphan and he's had this kind of not so nice upbringing and such, that this was almost like a glamorous lifestyle and opportunity that he was provided until he was shown like what exactly he got into. And I think that started with Frederick. Like really he realized like, honestly, I don't think he realized, because again, he's young, he's naive.
I think he always realized. I think there was always that bit of so the thing about his character is that even though he was part of this, even though he was doing everything he did, he didn't verbally question it.
Right.
It didn't sit well with him.
No, but
he went along with it. Yeah,
but I still don't think he really understood the true magnitude of what he was doing, because in his letter to Yuta, he even said like, how come you saw all of this? Like you knew that this was coming. You knew that like this would, not that this would happen, but like almost like she had some kind of foresight, right? That he didn't.
Okay.
Did I get that wrong?
No.
Like that, right?
I don't remember him actually saying that to Yuta though. I don't
Maybe
remember
not directly to her or like,
right. He
like,
says it
as he was like
he processed
dying days.
So no. I think he aspired, or I think he sort of he hailed the fact that, like, he hailed Frederick and Yuta for being able to sort of see beyond the glamour of and the charisma of their leaders, and be able to stand, take a stance or make a choice, where he felt that he couldn't make a choice.
Right.
I don't know if he felt the funny thing is, Frederick said, you have no choice. But the person that embodied that sentiment was Werner, who never made a choice until the end, when he encounters Marie Laure's character and decides to save her.
Yeah.
And that's the first time he makes a choice and a stand against his against the Nazis, against basically what he was serving. And basically Frederick and the death of the little girl were very important moments in his character, leading to that decision. And that's why I think those instances of violence are very relevant to the overall story.
I can hear your point on Werner's like that act of violence. Those two, I forgot about Frederick, and then the gunshot, the mom and her daughter. I could see that would be like the catalyst to him changing his ways. But you didn't comment on this one. I'm going to stand true. I can hear your point. I hear your point, and while I don't necessarily agree, I will agree to disagree because I do think that your points are valid.
Yeah.
I won't argue on that with you. But the essay scene, I know your view on it, and I don't agree with it. But
so
please.
Okay. So I'm not going to have an answer for this. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I don't actually think. I think maybe that did seem out of place.
Because what did that do to the story?
It didn't. Okay, so my only reading of this is to parallel Yuta with Marie Laure.
Okay.
And that Marie Laure represents hope.
Okay.
And just,
perseverance.
Wow. Not. I think they all represent perseverance. Yuta especially. After everything that happens to her, she's still able to, go on forth. But Marie Laure seems particularly to have gone unscathed, despite everything that happened around her.
She was blinded.
Not
touching that diamond right away.
And before
not touching it because she was in the presence of the diamond.
Yeah. If you believe if you believe that story, right? If you believe that the diamond just kept her safe, then yes. I think it's kind of left ambiguous. We're all like kind of all the characters, right? We're like, is this real? Is this real? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm just saying, move on from there. Yuta, I think, parallels Marie Laure in that Marie Laure just went unscathed, right? But Yuta seems to have really got been unfortunate throughout the whole thing. Not only did she lose her brother, and I know Marie Laure lost her father, but she was still surrounded by family. But Yuta lost her brother, and she was essayed by Soviet soldiers. And I know that during the essay, one of the soldier who was essaying Yuta was going through a list of names, and Yuta thinks that the names he was going through are the names of his deceased comrades. And there's something about that I think is really important to the overall theme, which is war. Okay. It's war incentivizes people to commit egregious crimes. We see this also earlier with the killing of the little girl, where Werner says, why did this his own colleague or comrade, why did he shoot this little girl? Why couldn't he think? And then he has this moment of introspection, and he couldn't think because, yes, this is what war does. It disables you. It enables acts of violence, and it like you're basically inhibited from thinking clearly. You act out of fear, and there's a lot of groupthink happening. So I think that is also supposed to feed into what happens with the Soviets. I will, however, say that something about it didn't, like, after you spoke to me and I thought about it, I was like, yeah, there, before the Soviets attacked, they had been talking about the Soviets as those barbarians and those criminals. And sure enough, the soldiers come in and do exactly what it was that they had expected them to do. So I'm not sure if I would say that there's a bit of I don't know. It almost seemed like out of like the entire story, which was very well thought out, there's this little bit that seemed, I wouldn't say flat is the right word, but to not have been as complex. Well, not like
what did it do to aid to I hear your point in that, like, it gives you a perspective, like a grander perspective on the effects of war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But do you think that could have been done in a different way? Yes. I don't think he needed to throw a SA scene in there. I think that was completely unnecessary. To me, Yuda's character was so minor until the very end. Like, it just seems that like that was just a way for you to bring her back into this story in a way that, like, again, even just even thinking about the book, like, it literally, if that whole maybe like what paragraph, I don't even know, I was reading and listening to this book, like, kind of almost to get it over with. That part I was listening to, so I'm not sure how long it was, but I think if you actually extracted that, I really don't think that would influence the book at all.
I want to talk about the fact that Netflix.
Yeah, so I actually looked up some reviews on it.
Okay.
I looked up reviews on this book, and then on the Netflix, after you sent me that voice, if it's a voice note or whatever it was, we message all the time.
Yeah.
About because I actually do want to watch the Netflix series.
Oh my God.
And it seems like if you haven't read the book, it's good. If you've read the book, not so much.
Okay.
That's my only comment.
I've never felt so annoyed at an adaptation that I haven't even watched, and I definitely don't plan on watching.
Okay. Well, I'll watch it for you, and I'll tell you.
The funny thing is I love adaptations. I live for adaptations. I say that aware that I've been critiquing this culture of adapting everything written to visual, but the Netflix one pissed me off because the characters are young, and I don't know why that wasn't played up or emphasized in the visual adaptation. I felt that the youth, the fact that these were children, is a central piece.
I mean, the Netflix, they aren't young people.
The actors look older to me from the trailer. They look older.
I haven't watched the trailer. I just, like, on my book it says, "Oh, now a Netflix series."
Yeah, they look older. So I think that the element of childhood is really important here because
100%.
Right, children, are often undermined as like not agents within their whole life. But here we have two characters, one who's coming into his agency based on his traumas and experiences during the war, and one who becomes a sort of part of the she goes into the resistance movement, Marie Laure, to do something.
She does wonderful things.
Yeah. She is. Yeah. Anyway,
but you're saying we want to take the conversation to where we've been before with like Hollywood and its adaptations.
No,
or
I think you know what, I was just annoyed.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch the adaptation, so I have no criticism of it right now.
It's reading. I don't know if I can watch it, but I will try to watch it.
I know. We don't even have time for TV. But yeah, no, I think like, well, I'm not going to critique the aesthetics and what they were going for. I don't know what they were going for. But I will say that the one thing that I found very striking and worthy of a conversation is the fact that the actors look much older than 15. I don't know if they, I don't know what the story is on TV there, but I just know that looking at it, it's like, that's one thing I'm really going to be annoyed by. Yeah.
Do you think Anthony, one of first
Doerr?
basis?
Yeah, I'm calling him Anthony.
Do you think Anthony was a part of that casting and the production? Like, I don't know how involved certain authors are, or if they just
Sometimes
give
they
up
are.
rights or what.
Yeah.
Because that does seem like a crucial part of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know sometimes, actors look older, but they're still playing that role.
Right.
Like, how often do we see, like, older actors and actresses who are playing these young roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that the case, or are they literally they just took like these 12 to 15-year-olds and now are making them 20-year-olds? Like, did they actually change the story, or is it just the fact that they didn't want to get child act? Like, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, these are really good questions. Maybe I shouldn't speak on it if I don't have the details. I just know based on what I see, because Hollywood is very good at depicting accurate, age on screen. You often can tell when a character is supposed to be younger.
Yeah.
And when I saw these characters, they looked older to me.
Okay.
They look like 20s.
I'll let you know when and if I watch it.
Yeah. It looks good. It looks, very like quality production, and it looks interesting.
Is there anything else that you want? Honestly, like, I'm still just in this la la land's not the right word. This like middle ground of I don't know what to think of the book. Maybe I just need more time to sit with it, because I had told you before that it was kind of a simple storyline, but I also think it's not.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
what? Oh, I do want to say,
yeah,
my one comment here that I think is worth, and I didn't realize it until I was compiling some notes for our podcast today.
Yeah,
is that a lot of the World War II stuff that I've read, watched, it's all very dark. It's all very grim and depressing, right? And I think, like, as the title suggests, and I don't know if you agree with it, but I think that he brought like a lightness. I don't mean like light in content. I just mean like literally a light into a very dark topic. That a lot of the time it's like, it is just horrible to read and to listen to, right? Like, he just brought something light into a dark and horrible situation. Like, his interpretation of just simple things. Like, he made everyday life during the war of two people seem just beautiful. Like, it was just uplifting, right? Like, reading this story. I know you're not going to... Uplifting might not be the right word. But it wasn't just all doom, right?
I actually know what you mean.
There was still some like this... I don't know how to describe it. Like, and maybe that's why I'm in trouble. Like, I'm really having a hard time with this book, because I really don't know how to describe how I feel about it. Right?
No, maybe it's a spiritual experience for you too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still,
hard to describe with words.
It's hard.
It's literally a section that... Okay, I won't cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, literally what I need to do is I need to read one more of his books to know if it's just this book or his writing style that, like, is bringing me to this, like, is it the story that I really liked?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't overly impressed. Like, while reading the book, I was just like, because I read The Nightingale and then I read this one. So for me, I was like, I mean, I can't compare the two, but it wasn't like this action-packed thing that I was expecting, which is fine. but I just need to know, like, if this is the experience that you get when you read all of his books, that might be something I'd be interested in.
It might be something you might be interested in, or it might not.
No, I might be interested in, because it's that feeling of, like, I don't know, it just made me, like,
it's kind of surreal, isn't it?
It is.
It's very surreal.
It is.
You come out and you feel like you've just experienced something.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a spirit. I stick to that. It's a spiritual experience. Oh, damn it! What was I gonna say?
I don't know. But while we're thinking about that, we can do our ratings real quick. I know. I mean, do you even have a rating?
5, 10, infinity and beyond.
Okay, so Chi-Chi's gonna sleep with this book underneath her pillow every night. Yeah. Keep it with you at all times.
What's your
rating? In all my rating? Honestly, I don't know. Like,
I know.
At least a 4.5.
Okay.
At least.
Good.
And the point...
We can stay friends.
Yeah.
It's just ready to cut you off right now.
It's just yeah. Anyways, it's fine. I can't always like a book. We can quickly... And one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the way Werner died. I don't love that.
I was going to talk about that too. I was going to talk about that.
I don't love that he died.
Yeah.
However, I think that he needed to, and just the way it was the most poetic moments of the entire book for me.
Oh my God.
I was just like, wow.
Okay, I cried. I cried in 2 different moments.
Okay, not at every chapter. That's good.
No, not in every chapter. That, like, I cried intensely when Werner died, because I thought Werner represented hope for a while. So I think that what you're talking about with the whole light thing, and there's a lightness, I think it's Marie's character, really. But there is a sort of optimism, right, that each character brings with them, and that, like,
that's the word I'm looking for, is optimism.
Yeah. They can move. After experiencing this war, they move on, they heal. Marie's character in particular, I think, is representative of something even more.
Yeah.
I think she's supposed to act as this, like, I don't know.
Beacon of hope?
This beacon of hope, as cheesy as that sounds. Yeah. She's supposed to act as this beacon of hope. And initially I thought that he's going to survive. I honestly thought, they're going to reconnect. That was my hope. They're going to reconnect. But they met only once. And that meeting is defined as something just pure and love, and just like this beautiful way that
it really is. It's just like beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And so when he dies, oh my goodness, he just... he steps on a landmine. I guess he's like sort of delirious, so he leaves
his team planted.
That his team planted. He steps on a landmine that his team planted. Honestly, I wonder if that's not like Werner had to die.
He had to.
And that death maybe symbolized I don't know. I want to say like
the end of the war,
but not just the
end
war.
Of every
it's hard.
And even the fact that we're having this discussion of trying to, put this, like, we're trying to use such epic and big descriptions and words. It's because like that's what this.
It is a literary masterpiece.
It is, and that is why it won the Pulitzer. Am I pronouncing that right? Pulitzer?
Yeah,
because it's beautiful.
No, it is. Okay, we're in agreement.
Okay.
That's
it. I think that's it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.